I've called this the call. It started with one of those calls no one wants to receive. Can you come in this afternoon? Your doctor would like to see you. I wasn't too concerned as I had just had my yearly mammogram, and for the last couple I had received the same kind of call. Those ended with a, you just have quite fibrous breast tissue, so we need to schedule a follow-up ultrasound. Each time it had been nothing to worry about. So I went in quite cheerful and optimistic. However, this time it was a small lump has been detected and you'll need a biopsy. Upon examination, neither my doctor or I could feel it, but a referral was made to the surgeon. 2 days later, I was in his office. He scheduled me for the biopsy the following week. An appointment was made for 10 days later to get the results. I was still feeling pretty sure it was nothing as I went in to see him. However, the biopsy showed cancer. What to do? The doctor recommended a lumpectomy, and after discussion, he booked it for the following week. Having worked in the medical clinic for a number of years, I was familiar with the process, but it's quite different when it's you being the one to have the surgery. I was scared. The surgery itself went well with the lump and a number of lymph nodes being removed. Then the call came to come in and discuss the results of this. Since several of the lymph nodes were also positive, it meant chemotherapy and radiation. So, another appointment. I went home from that appointment, drove into the parking spot, turned off the motor, and sat and bawled as I prayed and told God I did not want to die. Then I dried my eyes, fixed myself up, and went in to tell Don the news. Needless to say, he was also upset, and we cried and prayed together. Then it was a pull up your socks and get on with it. The next appointment was with Dr. Hoffert to set up the chemo, which began about a week later. I had heard and seen so many people get quite sick and lose their hair having chemo, and I was not looking forward to it. The first session took about 4 hours, and I walked out feeling okay, thinking, what were people talking about? Sick? I feel fine. We went for dinner and then home for a normal evening. The next day, I began to get sick, and by the third day, I was really sick, laying on the couch with my puke bucket. This lasted for about a week and a half, getting a bit better each day. By the end of the second week, I'd be okay, and now it was time to do it all over again. Plus, the treatments left me wiped out, with no energy to do anything. About the time I started the second treatment, my hair began to come out in clumps, so my daughter-in-law came over and shaved my head. At the oncology unit, there were wigs you could take. I took one that looked a little like my natural hair, and one that was a nice wavy auburn color. I always did kind of want to be a redhead. Around home and with good friends, I didn't put on a wig, but out in public I did. Mostly so I was not always being stopped and asked what was happening. Plus, I kind of liked how I looked with red hair. Sessions 2, 3, and 4 went pretty much the same. Then came a new drug in the last ones, Taxol. Ugh. This one caused such pain in my feet that beside the vomiting, I could not walk. Dawn fashioned a rolling chair for me and lifted me from it to the toilet or into bed. It felt like 1,000 samurai warriors were in my feet with their little knives slicing away, and I had to go through 4 such treatments. I swore that if things came back, I would rather die than go through that again. My feet still feel like there's a thick layer of dead skin on the bottom, a leftover side effect. Following that, with the 20 radiation treatments, 5 a week in Vancouver, where I was able to stay with my daughter, was like a walk in the park. Finally, it was all over. A year of my life devoted to that disease from beginning to end. That was 20 years ago, and I don't dwell on it much except to be so thankful, first to God for the hearing and answering my prayers and allowing me to live to see my grandchildren born and growing up, and then to my doctors and the wonderful staff in oncology who are so patient and supportive of people on this journey. I'm just so grateful for each and every day now and try to live in the moment, not the past. Some memories are best forgotten. And now I'd like to put a plug in for mammograms because This would not have been discovered were it not for a mammogram. Even knowing where it was, my doctor nor I could feel that lump. So I'm just urging anyone, women, go have your mammograms regularly. And having had a couple of male friends, one of whom died from breast cancer, men, check your breasts too.